The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is April 6th, 2020, and this week, White Horse Rider or Wormwood. This is episode 185, and I'm your essential employee, Basil, here
and
again.
This is Gonz, back again, live streaming on all the different platforms. I'm reporting to you from FEMA Region 9. Basil is anonymous region 33, right, Basil? You shill with those googly eyes.
You're on to me, Gonzo. You're on. Yes. But I hear things are just cruising just fine over there in FEMA Region 9. No martial law quite yet, huh?
Well, they got the NG ready. They're in ready mode, and we're not sure why. It could be the robots, it could be the virus, it could be Wormwood.
Could be a comet. Could be anything.
Could be a comet. Yeah.
All right. Well, I want to give a big old shout out to everybody over there at the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel. Thanks for coming back. I want to give a very special and warm welcome to all the Twitch viewers over there. Gonz, I don't know if you remember, it was a couple shows ago. I put out a very heartfelt request for people to go follow us on Twitch, and many people did. And as of that show, we are now we got our affiliate level over on Twitch, so we made it. Yeah,
what does that mean?
It's all thanks to the people who responded to my my personal favor I was asking for. Affiliate is like their first level of like you're doing a good job. Now there is a second level of doing a good job, and it's called partner. So now we're shooting for partner. Okay. So here's the thing. I don't want to ask too much of everybody. But if you are listening to this live right now, please consider going to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. We're trying to build that platform out because we have a long dreamt dream of playing video games together and going through and dissecting and analyzing the elite messaging going on in video games, as well as the push for technocracy and all sorts of other agendas that are popping up in video games. If you are a gamer, this is the place for you. If you know a gamer, this is a place for you. If your kid plays games all day, especially now during quarantine, and you just don't get it, and you want to learn more about what they might be being exposed to on the video games, head over to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. We are on our way to partner as Gonz and I look for ways to pay the bills during this time. We are essential employees only of this podcast, so we got to figure out how to make it work. So if you want to help us make it work, go to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. It's the same feed. You're watching the same thing, but it's on Twitch, and it really helps us out. So please, 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 I consider that a personal favor, not just to myself and not just to Gonz, but also to Gonz's children, who just won't stop eating. It's crazy.
It's insane. They eat like they're crazy animals or something.
I know, they don't stop eating. Throw that link into the chat, would you, Gonz? I can't do it with my VR hands.
The Twitch link?
I need your yes. Throw the Twitch link in the chat. I can't do it with my. You have real human hands you get to use. But so there you go. Any other? I noticed, and a lot of long-time listeners will notice that we played the original intro music today. What was that about? You doing some A/B testing, Gonz?
Just bringing it back, see if anybody notices or anybody cares, if they miss the new intro or if they like the old intro. Just throwing it out there, see what people think. We went with that first intro for, I don't know, quite a while. It was like almost 2 years, I think. So we did switch it up, or actually more than that, 2.5 years. So it's a little more familiar. I don't know. Just thought I'd throw a little nostalgia in there while we're at it.
Yeah, it's just a little old school.
Old
Yeah,
school
we're
for
going
Canary
old
Cry
school
Radio
this
years.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you want to do a
Canary
little
Cry
Flippy
News Talk,
update?
Gons.
What?
You got to get the show right. This is Canary Cry News
What
Talk.
did I say?
You said radio again. That's
Oh,
fine. It's
okay.
all one. It's all one.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, I know.
It is all one.
But yeah, so as is tradition, we'll start out with a Flippy update.
Oh, here it is.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Whoa.
COVID.
Ooh.
Yeah, because it's a double.
Jingle. I
Double
like
jingle.
it. Very good. Okay, so veteran Canary Cry News Talk listeners will know that Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. And we are tracking Flippy and all of his cohort because he is on the front lines of the technocracy, sneaking into our lives. And Gons, there's been a lot of use of robotics and drones and things like that in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And I wanted to bring attention to just a really entertaining one. This is on ladbible.com. Dalek filmed rolling down street, telling humans to self-isolate. A clip showing a Dalek rolling down a street, warning people to self-isolate during the coronavirus outbreak has gone viral. The video, the lone Dalek can be seen patrolling a UK street, telling all humans to stay inside by order of the Daleks. And as any Doctor Who fan will tell you, these extraterrestrials are not to be ignored. Are you able to play that video on the stream there, Gons?
There goes the Dalek down the street, telling everybody to self-isolate. It's fantastic.
Yes,
this is great.
For all
I love
you
this.
Doctor Who fans out there, you know, those blokes in the UK sure got a sense of humor. So there you go. And as we've seen in places all over the world, you know, police forces are using more and more drones and robotics to patrol the streets instead of having to, you know, put themselves in harm's way. Yeah. So this is just another example of that. I wouldn't mind seeing a little Dalek going down. It's better than the drones. The drones are creepy. The Daleks are so lovable.
Yeah, until the Dalek starts to bust out weapons and coordinate amongst themselves to try to take over.
Yeah, they're pretty pesky that way.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I got. That's Flippy this week. Keep an eye out.
That's your Flippy update? Okay, well, there's a few other just updates real quick. COVID stuff, you know, it's really not trying to like get away from it, but it's kind of hard. There's so much happening.
Can't. I know. We try our best to like mix up the things that we're talking about, but you know, you got to have mud to make bricks, and the only mud we're presented with is COVID-19 mud. So here you go.
Constant. Yeah. So this is express.co.uk. Coronavirus horror deadly virus has already mutated 8 times. Shock scientist warns. And it says here, on average, the virus is mutating every 15 days. However, researchers have concluded the strains are not getting more deadly. Next Strain, an open database in which virus sequences were uploaded, co-founder Trevor Bedford told National Geographic, quote, "These mutations are completely benign and useful as a puzzle piece to uncover how the virus is spreading." So not that interesting, other than it's mutated 8 times.
Yeah, I mean, that's
is that
kind
normal?
of interesting. Yeah, it is normal.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So
those in the know, yeah, when it comes to bacteria, viruses, really most microorganisms, their lifespan is so short that you know, minor tweaks in the genetics. Well, I don't want to get too
yeah, Mr. Biologist Googly Eyes, tell us how this works.
Yes, for ease of conversation, I'll say, you know, the minor changes in the genetics can quickly start, you know, taking
changing.
new forms as the generations of the virus go by. So yes, I've heard 8. I've heard a couple other numbers too. I've heard there could be as many as like 40.
40, yeah, that's the number I heard too. 40. I wonder if there's probably some
So we're
signaling
getting a
going
lot
on.
of different strains of this thing. And yeah, like I said, they don't think necessarily that the new strains are more dangerous. They're just noticing some unique variations starting to pop up. Yeah, some people in the chat said more like 33 mutations.
Yeah, exactly.
Ding, 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 all sorts of stuff. But of course, there's I didn't plan on talking about this story, but it is going around, Gons.
I know.
The connection with 5G. Have you heard that?
Oh, the 5G thing?
Have
I
you
thought you were
got
going to go to the Tigers.
full lowdown on the 5G thing?
Yes, and actually there was somebody that just sent me a personal message with the whole 38-minute thing of the alleged pastor or
I've got it.
Believer guy. Yeah. That's
the guy who worked in the telecom company.
Yes.
Going around, he's got a big explanation about how viruses don't exist. They are just the result of EMFs and different
your body reacting
type,
and trying to get rid of it.
Yeah. Cell poisoning, and our bodies create the virus. Look, we have seen it, everybody. Thank you very much for sending it. We have seen it. We have read it. We have listened to it. I am waiting for like some other info. Like so far, it's just this guy talking, and like people like David Icke doing big long videos on it
that are getting banned too. That are getting taken off of YouTube after.
We need some data. I haven't seen any data. It's just this guy talking, and you know what? I'm a guy. I can talk, but it's got to be data before I can talk about it a little bit more. But in response to that. There's these stories. This one specifically is from The Sun, so take it for what you will. thesun.co.uk. Holy smoke, idiots burning 5G masts after conspiracy that radiation sparked coronavirus is spread by celebs. And I don't know. I don't want to get myself in trouble here. I heard the 5G virus thing, and I was like, well, if that's the case, there's nothing I can do about it. I don't know what to do. But there are some people out there who are taking matters into their own hands and destroying cell towers. So these people will most certainly be branded as terrorists, and only history will tell if they were terrorists or heroes.
I
saw some people in the chat. Some people in the chat were talking about how their cell phone wasn't working, and has anybody else had problems with their cell phone? You might have some people burning cell towers in your region.
That's true.
So you might want to look into that.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that it's so interesting how we live in this technocracy now, where burning down these towers, it's kind of like. There's a sentiment of like, down with these surveillance technologies, but at the same time, you are definitely, this is like definite vandalism. If it was like a few, I guess people that did the whole statue knocking over thing, a lot of people got in trouble for that, but it's just interesting how these different political bents, it always turns into burn something down. And that's kind of biblical too. God does
torches
tell
and pitchforks, man.
Yeah. He tells
the torches and pitchforks. That's how people have been freeing themselves for centuries.
It's true though. I mean, the thing is, like, if you can do it without getting caught. All right, I'm going to get in trouble.
No.
We don't recommend you burning things down. But in terms of the sentiment, the idealism behind it, you can kind of get behind that. But at the same time, you're like, you can't just burn stuff down, man. It's putting other people in danger just as much.
Gonz's words, not mine. So just keep that in. Make sure that's expressed in the court filings. People.
Googly eyes.
I did not encourage people to do this. I do want to encourage people. I want to thank the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people who joined and followed us on Twitch. You people are heroes. There's no way for me to tell who the most recent followers are, but if you just clicked over to the Twitch, that's twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio, and followed us on Twitch, we are really aiming to get partner status on Twitch. We're going to be going into video games and dissecting and analyzing the messaging, and there's a lot of stuff there, folks. So if you are listening on the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel, or Canary Cry Radio YouTube channel, or Facebook, wherever you're watching, right now, it would be a huge favor to both Gons and I if you go to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. Gons, throw that in the chat again, and sign up and follow us. It helps us a whole ton. You couldn't even know. It's the easiest way to get me to stop begging for donations. If you go follow us on Twitch. Okay, next little update, Gons. Are you ready for it?
Kind of.
Meow.
Okay, all right.
That was
yes,
my jingle.
I am ready. That was your jingle. I used to have a cat sound effect, but I got rid of it. You want me to send links and switch things at the same time? This is a lot.
No. Okay.
Go for it.
Yeah, I do.
We're ready. We're ready.
I ask a lot of you, Gons. We all do. You're a giver. Okay,
Sure.
Here we go. MSN.com, a tiger has tested positive for coronavirus, but experts say there's no evidence you could catch it from your pet. Okay, that's good to say. Experts say there is no evidence to suggest people could catch coronavirus from their pets after a tiger in the U.S. tested positive for COVID-19. I want to hand it to MSN.com right now, because the very first sentence of this article is, don't worry, you won't catch it from your cats. And I respect them for that. There was early on in the coronavirus thing, when it was still just in China, people were throwing their dogs out windows and stuff. It was very sad because they thought that they could get it from their dogs. So there you go. You can't get it from your cat. But a 4-year-old Malayan tiger named Nadia was tested for the virus after she fell ill at the Bronx Zoo in New York. Of course, it was in New York. 6 other tigers and lions have also fallen ill, according to the zoo. But all are said to be doing well and expected to recover. It is believed the animals were infected by a zoo employee who is not yet showing symptoms. Dr. Paul Kaye, Bronx Zoo chief veterinarian, said the test used to find out whether Nadia had contracted the virus was different to the ones used for humans. Okay. Good to know.
right.
Quote, the COVID-19 testing that was performed on our Malayan tiger Nadia was performed in a veterinary school laboratory, and it is not the same test as is used for people. Why is this important for him?
I don't know, but you know what I saw a lot on Twitter based on this story? There's a lot of people going, humans are dying. People are dying. Why aren't we giving people tests? Why are we giving tigers tests?
Oh, maybe that's why. Yeah, maybe
that's
they don't
probably
want to
why.
seem like they're wasting tests on tigers.
I think that's what it is.
After the Tiger King, I think the whole nation would get behind testing all tigers. I gotta say, okay, I'm not going to talk about Tiger King for very long, but I did watch Tiger King, and I get it. Okay, I get it.
You're wild. Like that. That is actually me. That is why I have to wear.
I totally get it. I have an excellent Joe Exotic. It might be my best impression I can do is Joe Exotic impression, but I'm not going to do it here because we'll save that for another stream. Okay. If you want to hear my Joe Exotic impression, email Guns, facelikethesun@gmail.com. All right. Quote, you cannot send human samples to the veterinary laboratory. You cannot send animal tests to the human laboratory. So there is no competition for testing between these very different situations. Okay, right there. The zoo has been closed to the public since March 16th amid the coronavirus outbreak in New York. Dr. Sarah Caddy, veterinarian and clinical research fellow at University of Cambridge, said the news that a tiger could get infected with the virus was not unexpected, but she insisted that there's no evidence the disease can travel in the other direction. I don't know. Saying that there's no evidence it can happen and that it can't happen are two different things, but I don't want to go there. According to Dr. Caddy, new research suggests domestic cats can be infected with the virus if large doses are administered into their noses. Doses in their noses. But she said it was surprising that the tiger became infected from, quote, what must have been a fairly low dose of the virus. What does this mean for our pet cats? She added, nothing new. At present, there's still only one suspected case where an owner has spread the virus to their pet. It is possible that tigers in captivity are more susceptible to the virus than household moggies. Oh, moggies. Is that like a British thing?
I don't
feel
know.
like that's racist. I shouldn't say that, as there is a 5% difference between their genomes. The bottom line is that there's no evidence that any cat, large or small, can transmit the virus back to humans. The World
to know.
Health Organization says that while there has been one instance of a dog in Hong Kong, there's no evidence a cat, dog, or any pet can transmit COVID-19. So there you go. There was one story of a cat in Denmark that got it, which was very sad. But there you go, folks. Don't release your cats into the wild. You know, my cats, they're indoor cats, so they are just as protected as I am.
Fantastic.
Gaunt, did I lose you?
No, I'm still here.
You have
Can you hear me?
family things going on?
No, can you hear me? I'm still here.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Mensa says, yes, Moggies is a British thing. And thankfully, not racist, he says. Okay.
Cool.
Thank you, Mr. Mensa.
Can you hear me? Can you not hear me right
on
now?
The list.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Sounds like you... Okay. All right.
I don't know. I think we might have lost or like slowed down connection.
Sounds like there's a little bit of a delay.
Okay. That's going to happen with all this internet happening.
Yeah. A lot of internet going on. Tell us about Boris.
Oh, we're doing Boris. Okay. So real quick, because we got a lot more to get to here. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson moved to intensive care as coronavirus symptoms worsen. This is usatoday.com. This was published today. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson was moved to an intensive care unit at a London hospital Monday night after his coronavirus symptoms worsened, his office said in a statement. Johnson, 55, asked Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab to, quote, to deputize for him where necessary, according to a Downing Street statement. Quote, since Sunday evening, the Prime Minister has been under the care of doctors at St. Thomas's Hospital in London after being admitted with persistent symptoms of coronavirus. So we knew about Boris, but it looks like his condition's getting worse. So, I don't know. Guess we got to pray for the guy to, pull through. Maybe this is his...
it's very interesting, especially because Boris is kind of considered the Trump of Europe.
I was going to say, he's like the bad clone, like the failed clone of Trump. Like, just have him run Britain over there.
Yeah, and there's certainly a lot of people who have wished coronavirus upon Trump, and so this is kind of like they just get a little taste of it. But that's pretty crazy. I wouldn't imagine that a head of state like that would be put in harm's way. But there you go, Bojo got it somehow.
Hey, it's and if you're elite politician, actor, Hollywood, that's like the coronavirus loves those people. It really goes after people with like that have publicity or big bank accounts. I don't know. There's a pattern here. Let's move on.
I agree.
You got more to say?
Sorry, I'm having some VR troubles here. I'm frantically trying to get my life back together. Why don't you take the first story?
Okay, so we're going to go into... Oh, I thought I had this ready, and I don't. Oh, where's my Four Horsemen jingle? All right, here it is. Give me 1 second. This is live.
The Four Horsemen of the Technocalypse.
Anytime you see the Four Horsemen, it's something special.
So we've long talked about on the show and on the channel and everything else how we don't think that the whole situation here with the lockdown and all that has to do too much with the virus, but more of an agenda to get, digital IDs for everybody, maybe mandatory vaccines, things like that. And Bill Gates has been one of the four horsemen of the technocalypse for us for the last few years. We just randomly identified some people that are out there, and Bill Gates was one of them. He's on our list of four. Of course, we don't know, if he's
it's the list. One. Our list is the list.
Okay.
Guns.
All right. Okay. And people have been all over Bill Gates. My Twitter feed and everything else, people are just slamming Bill Gates, saying, who is this guy trying to come in, trying to rule everybody's lives with vaccines and all this kind of stuff. So the response is not very good in terms of people that would be compliant to this thing, but it keeps moving forward. This is MSN.com. A potential coronavirus vaccine funded by Bill Gates is set to begin testing in people, with the first patient expected to get it today. As of this recording, this was published 10 hours ago, so presumably they already finished the test.
It's
Healthy
actually
volunteers,
happening.
healthy volunteers in Philadelphia and Kansas City, Missouri will begin to test an experimental coronavirus vaccine starting this week. The small Pennsylvania-based biotech Inovio Pharmaceuticals received regulatory clearance to begin testing. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, along with other nonprofits, have poured funding into Inovio's vaccine project. The biotech expects to have early safety data by late summer and is aiming to produce 1 million doses by the end of 2020. So, I mean, they're just, it doesn't matter. The king of the world, Bill Gates, has been crowned king to just do it. Yeah.
For those in the know, if you've been following Bill Gates, I mean, there's a lot of disturbing things, but the most disturbing thing about it is, Bill Gates is famously one of the biggest, certainly the richest propagators of the idea that we need to depopulate the planet, that there's too many human beings, and that because of all the human beings, we're killing the planet, and we should have less babies, and we should spend less on end of life care, that kind of stuff. He said some crazy stuff about, not liking that there's so many humans. And now, of course, I'm not even going to get into it, but those in the know the results of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's activities in Africa and the vaccines there, not only vaccinating people against diseases, but also having babies. The question is, why would this guy who is so passionate and almost singularly minded on depopulation care so much about creating a vaccine and making sure everybody gets it, and anybody who doesn't get it is evil and a criminal and should be ostracized from society? I'm just throwing it out there, folks. I don't need to get into it, but it does seem fishy.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a surprise. The kind of research that's been pumping out now, really Graceful had a pretty cool video that outlined Bill Gates before he was Bill Gates, and just showing the lineage, and it's the same group of people that have been out there, the elite that run stuff. So it's not really a surprise, the connection to Planned Parenthood and all of that. So yeah, no big surprises here. But this got me really thinking in terms of the 4 horsemen in the Bible, because it's a very interesting study. And, when I came into looking at Bible prophecy and studying it and stuff, the thing that I heard all the time in the world of Bible prophecy was the first seal, which is basically the first horseman, because, it's the scrolls opening, the first 4 seals that open up. Those are the first 4 horsemen.
Right.
The white horse, the red horse, the black horse, and the pale horse. And, there's a lot of interesting patterns and stuff, but I was always told that the white horse was the Antichrist, that the first one was the Antichrist. And so I was doing a little reading around yesterday, and I was actually surprised. Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, so you did a bunch of reading, and I got to take the opportunity before you jump into this. Okay. I want to thank the last hold on. I got to thank the last reloading page. 14 people who went over to Twitch. Here's the thing, folks. Gonz is about to go into his whole thing. We're trying to get partner on Twitch. There's 800 people just in this chat that I'm looking at. If I gotta ask if you guys want to a wonderful way to support Gonz and I in this time where we're trying to figure out how to feed our families when we can't go to work. We need to make partner on Twitch, and it is a personal favor to me, to Gonz, and to all the little mouths that Gonz needs to feed, and the little kitty mouths that I gotta feed. If you go over to twitch.com/canarycryradio, go follow us on twitch.com/canarycryradio. twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. Follow us and watch our streams on Twitch. We got to hit some numbers so we can get partner and start making some money over there. So please, 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 it's a huge benefit to us. There's over 800 people in this particular stream I'm looking at. And if you guys, if even 5% of you go over to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio, follow us. It's going to be huge. And watch the video there because we need those numbers. Thank you guys very much. I'm not going to talk too much about donations today, but in return, we could really use some people joining the Twitch channel. And you're going to want to because Gons is going into it. He's getting real right now.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
show him some love over there on Twitch. All right, Gons,
so
continue.
Thanks for the pitch there. Okay, so all right, so there's a few things that are interesting about the four horsemen. Again, it's the first four seals that are being opened of the seven sealed scroll that has the judgments, the wrath of God, I think, written on it. That's what the trumpets and the bowl judgments are. But there's a pattern here that I think is very fascinating before we get into the white horse part of it, which is that the four, the white, red, black, pale, is very similar with the four beasts that you see, or the three beasts and the final conglomerate beast you see in Daniel 7 and Revelation 13, because the white horse is conquer, the red horse is war, black is famine, and the pale horse, death, can kind of like bring it all together and do all of it. And so there's a pattern here, I think, taking place. But, people always think like, oh, we're living in a time when the seals are opened. They have opened. They're about to open. Everyone has different theories and opinions about that. A lot of people saying that this whole pandemic thing is the third seal because it's the one with famine. But again, I had thought that the white horse, the rider of the white horse, was the Antichrist. That's just kind of what I was taught, sort of.
Right.
And I still sort of think that after the little digging I did. But let me just read Revelation 6, and this is verses 1 and 2. Then I watched as the Lamb opened one of the seven seals, and I heard one of the four living creatures say in a thunderous voice, "Come." So I looked and saw a white horse, and its rider had a bow, and he was given a crown. And that's where people talk about, the crown, right? The corona. And he rode out to overcome and conquer. Okay, so the idea here being overcoming and conquering, very similar language to Revelation 13, where it talks about the Antichrist overcoming and conquering the saints. So that's where there's a parallel there for the Antichrist argument. However, I was digging around, and of course my source here being the ever so trustworthy Wikipedia, and it says here, as the Antichrist, the translation is really late. It actually was not around until 1866 when C.F. Wimpole defended the hypothesis that he was the Antichrist. The first horse, the white horse, the rider of the white horse was the Antichrist. Up until that point, the church had believed that the rider of the white horse that goes out and conquers, is either Jesus himself or the Holy Spirit that was sent out. And there's some decent arguments to support that as well. And I thought it was very fascinating because, you know what, it can kind of be both. If the Antichrist is going to claim to be God, there's a parallel here happening if the first, the rider of the white horse here is Jesus or the Holy Spirit. We obviously see the rider of the white horse later on being Jesus in, I think, Revelation chapter 19. So that's where the connections come in. But it says here that more precisely, C.F. Wimpole said that Napoleon Bonaparte was the Antichrist. That was the theory back in 1866, allegedly, according to these sources here, which I couldn't nail down, which is interesting now because it looks like you can't actually click on those sources anymore. It was actually a weird, obscure French theology paper that I couldn't translate. So I couldn't really nail down like, okay, this was actually true, that this was the first time anybody thought that the white horse of the book of Revelation, the first rider, was the Antichrist. But if it is, interesting that it was Napoleon Bonaparte as that Antichrist figure. Now, okay, normally this would be like, whatever, okay, cool, interesting study. But I was doing some cleaning. I was cleaning up my little closet studio thing here, and I ran into a book. This is, can you see it? This is The Temple at the Center of Time, written by the late David Flynn. And I was just moving, so I was just kind of, and I opened the book. Literally, I just kind of opened to a random page. This is right after I read this wiki thing. The first thing I read says this, quote, Napoleon Bonaparte began his conquest of Palestine in 1798 with an attack on the port city of Acre. Even before moving his troops north of Egypt, he had already prepared a proclamation making Palestine an independent Jewish state. And, interestingly enough, it goes on to tell more about Napoleon's history here and how he talked about he became sort of a religious type for everybody, that he became Catholic during a certain war. He became Muslim to gain certain footing in Egypt. And for the Jews, that he would rebuild Solomon's temple. And the Jews at the time in the synagogue back in that time, especially in Malta, welcomed Napoleon as a conqueror equal to Cyrus the Great, which is very fascinating because...
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, if we remember a few years ago when Trump took office, they were talking about how Trump is, he's this is the modern day Cyrus. Well, they were saying that about Napoleon, the Jewish mystics, or the Jews of Malta were. And other people in the Jewish community thought that Napoleon was the king of the north in Daniel 11. So I just bring it all up because in connection to what's taking place today with the whole, we won't get into the details, but the whole Zionist movement in Israel, Trump's loyalty to Israel and reestablishing Jerusalem as the capital, and all these moves taking place, all these rabbis coming out and saying, hey, the Messiah is here. There was somebody that said, hey, we've talked to a Messiah. We're talking to him now. And the thing is, these rabbis have said that for centuries. You've got to realize that they've been saying the Messiah is here. And they've actually tried to place people in positions of power to be the long-awaited Messiah of the Jews for years. So I thought it was very interesting that whole rabbit trail leads us to a place where there's some parallel taking place here with messianic verbiage, as well as things happening in Jerusalem that, because all of Bible prophecy surrounds Jerusalem, the land of Jerusalem. And I just wanted to go down that rabbit trail and report that because, hey, there's all sorts of stuff, weird stuff going on. Jared Kushner came out and said some stuff that people were bashing the other day. And, this whole thing, the whole virus thing, it seems like it is, everyone thinks that it's something more than what's taking place, the virus, the official story. Everyone feels like it's something else.
Yeah, and I mean, even the normies are kind of like
they're very suspicious of what's happening.
Fishy, man. Nobody's believing anything right now.
Exactly.
And that's a weird place for the elite to be in, because they got this situation where they have the disaster that they've wanted for a while, and they are taking steps to take advantage of it. Lots of elites making big moves. And, they kind of, I think there's a feeling in that circle, or I would expect that, they think they're making headway. They think the plan is going as well planned. But in amongst the folks that they are seeking to control so much, it's becoming ubiquitous that people are not trusting what they're hearing. They can't trust the numbers. The sort of, even the small, the lies are one thing, but the small manipulations are another thing. And people aren't going to buy it for too much longer, man. They can only put up with that for so long before people start, outwardly questioning and forget lighting cell phone towers on fire. I mean, things might get rowdy if they're not careful.
It might get a little crazy. And speaking of the messianic fervor that's taking place right now in especially Israel and the Jewish community. I don't know if it's the Jewish community, but certainly the religious rabbis and stuff that are pretty outspoken, that are out there. They're not really shy about this stuff. Mm-hmm. What's one thing, Basil, that signaled the coming of Jesus the Messiah? The wise men, what did they see that sparked them to know that the Messiah was here? They followed the star. And so we come to this story here. This is breaking Israel news. Comet half the size of the sun will be visible next month.
Oh, wow, what a manipulative
A little
headline.
bit, a little manipulative. We'll get into some of in its own article. It sort of debunks that idea that
Which is
it kind of is.
classic. You're seeing that more and more now. The headlines are almost immediately debunked by their own article. Like, what is going on where that's just a normal thing in the media now?
Yeah. A rare comet with an atmosphere half the size of the sun is approaching the Earth, and by next month should be visible in the night sky. Known as C2019Y4, or simply Atlas, and I've seen it referred to as C19, which is like not the weirdest coincidence ever that the comet.
It's pretty coincidental, though.
It's pretty weird. Okay, so C19, or Atlas, of course, that's the other, always with the Greek gods and stuff. The Titans. The comet is currently passing through the orbit of Mars, about 97,357,463 miles from the Earth, if you believe in that cosmological structure,
Sure.
and appears at about the brightness of an 8th magnitude star. Though not visible to the eye yet, the comet is currently visible through medium-sized telescopes, glowing green from its diatomic carbon content. And that green has a connection to wormwood in the Bible as well. The exact size of the comet, basically an icy rock, isn't known precisely, but is estimated to only be a few miles across. But Atlas's atmosphere, the gaseous cloud surrounding the comet, has a diameter measuring about 447,387 miles, which is half the size of the sun's diameter.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the comet poses.
Just to put that, hold on, to put that in regular words, there's a rock, and it's a pretty small rock as far as space rocks go. It's just, maybe a couple miles around, a couple miles wide, which is pretty small for a space rock. But the plume of gases and weird stuff coming off this comet is half the size of the sun.
So this is where I'm not a great math guy, but I tend to think like this is weird. Okay, so it says here the comet poses no danger as it will pass more than 72 million miles away from our planet. Now here's my question, Basil. The 72 million is a lot less than 447,387. So my question is is the Earth, given this model, cosmological model, according to their own little thing here, is the comet going to be close enough to where the Earth and like a bunch of other planets, I don't know. Actually, the Earth itself will be in the cloud, the gaseous cloud that surrounds the comet?
It sure sounds like it. I'm no math whiz.
Or is the gas mass, this giant ball, is that going to be 72 million miles away? You see what I'm saying? Like, is it the actual comet, or is it the whole plume?
Yeah, where are they saying the edge of the comet is? Are they talking about the rock, or are they talking about the gas? Because if they're talking about the rock, that comet is a fumigation bomb heading towards. It's like the aliens are like, that COVID thing hit Earth. We better send in the fumigation comet. And we're going to be right there in the hazy gas.
Yeah,
now, of course, the Earth has all sorts of defense mechanisms, magnetic fields and radiation fields, things like that. We'll probably be fine, but
it's just one of those things you want to throw out there because they're locking everybody down. They've stopped the supply chain. You hear rumors about a leak going underground and stuff like that. Totally. It's just very bizarre. It says here, amateur astronomers will be pleased to see that it is developing a tail as it approaches the sun. It will appear its brightest around the end of April when it may be visible to the naked eye or through binoculars, making its closest approach to Earth on May 23rd. At that time, it may appear brighter than Venus in our night sky. Now, Venus has been really bright, at least where I'm at, every single night. And it's actually been hovering right on the horizon with Uranus and some other constellations. At that time, it may appear brighter than Venus in our night sky. The comet's passage is cause for astronomers to celebrate, as the last time a comet was visible without a telescope in the northern hemisphere was the 1997 passing of Hale-Bopp. Of course, we know that there was some kind of mind control thing happening there with Hail Bop of everybody, that little Hail Bop group, drinking the Kool-Aid.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh, yikers.
Yeah, so there's maybe something there too. It is gaining speed and getting brighter as it approaches the sun. It will be at its perihelion, closest to the sun point, at 23,517,819 miles on May 31st. Astronomers are hard-pressed to predict how bright it will get. Blah, 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 blah. Atlas was the last comet discovered by the NASA-funded Atlas survey in Hawaii last year. The comet has grown 4,000 times brighter since it was discovered. Calculations by NASA, JPL, all those occultist people there, indicate Comet Atlas takes some 6,025 years to complete or an orbit around the sun, and its last Earth flyby was sometime around 4,000 BC. Oh, interesting. And it quotes Numbers 24 here, and it gets into some of the quotes from the rabbis. And let me just read this. Rabbi Yosef Berger, the rabbi of King David's tomb on Mount Zion, cited Rabbi Moses ben Maimon, known by the acronym Rambam, the foremost Torah authority of the 12th century, whose rulings are still used as the basis for much of Jewish law. Quote, the Rambam brings this verse about a star appearing as proof that the Messiah will come one day, Rabbi Berger told Breaking Israel News, but he says it will come from Jacob and not from Esau, more specifically from the tribe of Judah, which is actually, Basil, I've been talking about Chris White's book about the Antichrist, the false Christ. Will the Antichrist present himself as the Jewish Messiah? And one of the topics he brings up in the book is this Antichrist, man of sin, going to present himself as coming from the tribe of Judah? So there you have it. Even more incredibly, the Zohar, the foundational work of Jewish mysticism, predicts in detail the color and type of stars which will appear. Quote, the Zohar states explicitly that the messianic process will be accompanied by several stars appearing. The Zohar goes into great depth describing how many stars and which colors they will be. And we'll leave links and everything in the description section, especially of canarycrynewstalk.com. Go there to get all the links. And it says, quote, those who accept the truth will rejoice when the Star of Jacob appears. Those who do not will be greatly dismayed at having been revealed as being from the spiritual descendants of Moab. And I guess that's the danger here, Basil, is making decisions about one's spiritual, health and origin and destination based on the reaction of celestial movements. And so there you have it. I mean, look, something to keep in mind, the parallels with the coronavirus thing, again, everybody going underground, the changes, the what seems like martial law, the push for the ventilation system, people talking about why is the ventilators, why is that a big deal? Well, maybe they're getting ready in case something happens and the air becomes unbreathable outside. I mean, those are possibilities.
That is an interesting thing. Dang, you really triggered something in me with the ventilator talk, because there's a lot of problems going on with the whole ventilator thing that I don't have sources lined up right now to read. But this whole ventilator thing goes a lot deeper. Maybe I'll bring it up on Wednesday. But yeah, there you go, man. I don't know. This comet thing, when is it supposed to pass by?
It's going to get closer and closer, the closest being May 23rd. So it's supposed to get brighter in the next... Well, it's already gotten 4,000 times brighter since they found it. So I think it's just going to keep getting brighter. And that's the thing. This is going to be one of those things where we're going to be able to go outside and look up and see. And people have brought up Trump messaging. I don't know if I buy all of it, but apparently Trump in a recent press conference talked about looking up and made some emphasis about looking up and stuff like that. So, hey, maybe this is what people in the know knew about, and this is the big event. And it could be nothing. It could be just another hail bop. Look, there's a bright thing in the sky, and then the crazy people will drink the Kool-Aid, but everybody else will just kind of go along with the vaccinations and their digital IDs.
Well, I'll definitely keep an eye out for it. And Gons, how you doing on time? You're just about at the
just
at the
about
end,
out,
right?
Yeah, running out of time.
Well,
started
in that
late.
case, I want to thank everybody for being here on the stream. A big viewers today. Big
Viewers.
A lot of viewers, and they're big. They're nice big viewers. Look at the viewers on that one. So thank you guys so much for tuning in live. It means the world that you guys do so. Thank you if you're over on YouTube or Facebook, and a big old thank you if you're over on Twitch. A bunch of people switched over to the Twitch channel. That really is, unless you want to donate to the show, joining Twitch and following us at twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio is the best way to show your support of the show. It means the world to us. We are creeping up on partner status, which will unlock a lot of ways for Gonzai to support ourselves. And it's not YouTube. So I don't need to get into it. There's a lot of problems with YouTube. If you're watching this show, you know the problems with YouTube. So heading over to Twitch and following us there is the way to go. Plus, we're going to be playing some video games and analyzing the elite messaging within those games. Maybe you don't play, but you got a kid who plays, you got a friend who plays. You're going to want to know the types of things that are in these games, and you can learn along with Gons and I. It's going to be a good time. So go to twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. Gons, drop that in the thing for us. That'd be great. And I do want to mention one thing. We did get one Patreon supporter since last week, and his name is Kyle. So thank you very much, Kyle.
Thanks, Kyle.
For jumping on over at patreon.com/CCNT. That means the world. Gons, I do have a disappointing note, though.
Yeah, I saw that. Very sad.
You saw this, and this is real. It's on my notifications. Yep. It says we had a $5 per month pledge deleted by Elon Musk. So we finally said something that he didn't like, and he took away his $5 pledge. Yeah. So, but if you want to pick up the slack, if you're one of those folks who's got an extra $5 this month, and you want to help out your favorite podcasters, feed their kids and their cats, you can head over to patreon.com/CCNT. There's bonus episodes and all sorts of fun rewards over there. Please do that, because Gons and I, we're trying to make it work here. And here's the thing, I didn't mention it yet, but we have canarycry.community. If you haven't heard, canarycry.community is the best place to meet listeners just like you, talk about all the things you can't talk about over there on Facebook, the things that put you in Facebook jail or get you unfriended by your Aunt Carol. You can head over to canarycry.community, a real URL, sign up, and come fellowship with us, brother and sister, over at canarycry.community. If somebody joins that in the next minute or so, I can give them a shout out on the air here. So make sure to do that. And Gons, here's the biggest thing, folks. If you got friends and loved ones who are still getting their news from the mainstream or their Facebook feed, you got to grab them by the cage and shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
Wow, you've got some
Ask
new jingles.
Noah.
I
Those
like
are
it.
super old, actually. It's Ultron from Marvel.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk, and you got to make sure to tune in on Wednesday. But until then, think outside the cage.
For those of you watching, I just want to do this real quick, Basil.
Yeah.
I know it's a little off the cuff, but oops, not that. Hold on.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to find. Oh, here we go. Okay, I'm gonna give a little. I'm gonna extra minute. Extra minute.
This is a fun little after show.
Okay.
Here.
This got to be fake, right, Basil? Have you seen this? This is a tweet from some Chinese lady here. On March 26th, Canadian astronomy enthusiasts observed huge unknown objects moving near the moon. And the footage here is, I mean, if this is real, it's got to be like the biggest giant, ship, given the footage. Okay, so here's the moon. You can kind of see it. I think there's a cut zoom that zooms in a little closer. I don't know if that's a post edit. Let's see. Here we go. Come on. There it is. You see those little dots coming in?
Mm-hmm.
And the shadow. You can see the shadow against the side of the Earth, or not the Earth, the moon there. Yeah. Or allegedly. What do you think? Real or fake? It could be pretty easily faked.
There's no way of knowing, Gonzo. There's no way of knowing. Could be space junk. Could be aliens. Could be Nazis from the Nazi moon base.
That's what I was saying, man.
It could be anything. All right.
See, look at that. Look at that. Those things are gnarly. Space Force.
Space Force. We've got to get the Space Force up there. Maybe it is the Space Force.
Maybe it is. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay,
all right. Are you good?
I'm good. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, wait. There was something I had to say, but I forgot. So never mind. After show's over. Oh, no. Everybody out there, go. This is a podcast. We're streaming now. This is a new thing for us, but we've been doing a podcast for 8 years on one show and about 3 years on another show. So go to your podcast player, search Canary Cry Radio, search Canary Cry News Talk, follow, subscribe. There's also the Joyspiracy Theory. You're going to want to check it out. I'm just going to leave you there. But go subscribe to the podcast, because there you go. The show gets delivered right to your phone. It's the way to go. Podcasts are the future, people. All right.
Yep.
I don't have a tagline to end the after show, so
just end it again.
After show over. Make sure to check the next after show on Wednesday.
Okay.
But until then, think outside the cage.